Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another edition, another group here of the Rongyi Cup. Rongyi Cup group stage, Group B. I'm of course ShoWTimE. With me, I'm joined by these amazing players, by the people in chat, and of course, one day by my plushies once again. But welcome one and all. Again, the Rongyi Cup is a massive tournament, a $20,000 prize pool run by SCBoy, by the Chinese scene, the Chinese community, and has been running over the course of the weekend. Yesterday we were live with Group A. Here we're going to be live with Group B. Going to be catching up with some more Rongyi Cup. Of course, there are 4 groups in total, 4 groups, and 8 players will advance on into the playoffs. Now, for those that are curious, I do apologize. I was tentative about going live last night. Last night was Group C. Group C was last night. But again, the event is starting a little bit too late. I'm not quite as available at that time, so I wasn't quite able to cover it, and instead we're going to be covering it via replays, the group stage and most likely the playoffs as well, all via replays. Instead, we'll be covering all of it, but again, it'll take us like an extra day or two to actually catch up on those games and catch up on those matches, but we'll get there. We will get there. Otherwise, bienvenidos, welcome one and all. Welcome to Group B. Quickly switching our scenes over, let's catch up on the group itself. 4 players do face off, and 2 players will be able to make it through into the playoffs. As you can see here, we have 4 players in total. We have Clem, ShoWTimE, Zaun, and Bonnie. 2 Terrans and 2 Protosses. So really, I guess 1.5 Terran and 2.5 Protoss. Again, Clem, if he does play against Bunny, he will play Protoss. Bear that in mind. He does avoid the TvT matchup, has not played TvT in over a year, so it's something that he does avoid intentionally, so of course, so that we might see Clem's Protoss at some point in this group as well. We'll see. We shall see. Initially, though, we do have Clem versus ShoWTimE, and of course, Zaun versus Bunny thereafter. Coming into this group, if you recall, I'd had a bit of a hard time kind of placing who would be favorite here. I think I settled on Clem and Bunny. If you remember, Bunny did defeat ShoWTimE recently in the TV Monday, like 2 weeks ago, and likewise, Zaun has been MIA. Zaun has been a little more inactive and hasn't really been competing too much as of late, so it's hard to pin down the state of play of Zaun. So we'll see. We'll see how Zaun, Bunny, and ShoWTimE to perform. Clem, of course, the heavy favorite, but we'll see how they compare to each other as we're jumping into our first series, our first matchup. It is going to be Clem versus ShoWTimE. Game 1 is going to be on the Old Republic. Here we go. Let's go. Quack, papi, quack. Bienvenidos. Oh. So we're diving into our first series. Bearing in mind as well, these are all going to be best of 3s. All best of 3s, no best of 5s. And we're jumping into that first game this morning. In the top right-hand corner of the Old Republic, we have the German Protoss player, the red Protoss, representing Sentinels. It is a ShoWTimE. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the French Terran player. We have the blue Terran. It is Clem. For Team Liquid. Here we go. Again, bienvenidos everyone, bienvenidos. As we're loading into the Old Republic, one of the larger maps in the map pool. Larger map, longer rush distance by ground. On these larger maps, I typically do favor Protoss players and their ability to build up on a 3-4 bases, gain map control, and contain the Terran opponents. One of the big kind of factors, one of the big mountains to climb on this map is establishing a 4th base as the defending player. Whether it's the low ground 4th base, whether it's a linear 4th base, it is much more difficult to take, much more difficult to maintain, and getting to a longer macro game is going to be a tougher ask here for Clem. We'll see if he can. We'll see if he can get there. Otherwise, we're going to be calming down, settling in. ShoWTimE is typically one that does embrace the mid game. He's not really one that's too aggressive early on. I do know that ShoWTimE has been kind of shaking up kind of his style and has been mixing in some more aggression, some more cheese, especially in PvP. But I would say that's the exception, right? Like PvP is chaotic, is animalistic, and ShoWTimE does often proxy in PvP. But in the other matchups, is still known for that more mid game at least, or even longer macro game. Now, ShoWTimE has been adjusting how he gets there. I will say that, especially in PvZ, we've been seeing a little bit more of a more gateway robo-centric style, which actually did excel and work quite well against Raynor, if you recall. But again, that's a different matchup. Here in PvT, things can be very chaotic early on. Early game aggression here can swing things heavily in favor of Terran or Protoss, depending on how much damage is done. So we'll see if ShoWTimE can keep up. For now though, economic opener. Single gas opener out of Clem, going for the racks into expand into a delayed factory, just calming down and getting into a more economic start. Oh, okay, ShoWTimE going for the Stargate, not the Twilight Council. Interesting. Stargate openers are more of a rarer sight nowadays. We bring this up all the time, but a Stargate opener is a little bit more viable on these larger maps, just because whenever you go for Stargate, whenever you open up Oracle or Phoenix, you are vulnerable to early all-ins, to two-base all-ins specifically. But on these larger maps, there's a lower chance of an all-in happening. So I do think that this is a safer decision here from ShoWTimE, and we'll see what he can get done with it. We shall see. Leading towards Oracle into Phoenixes, or just straight Phoenix opener here out of ShoWTimE to gain map control, to be able to slow down Clem, contain him, and potentially even get into Phoenix Colossus, which is a bit of an older school composition, but I mean, it can still work. Can still work. We've seen it pop up every now and then. Here comes the first Oracle. First Oracle's moving out to harass. Adepts move out as well. Clem back at home, he's got his bunker, he's got his 3 Marines. Behind this, getting into his own Wooden Mine drop. Adepts can shade past the bunker, they can go for the mineral line. Shade is cancelled. More Adepts are on the way. Oh, and ShoWTimE is going for a second Oracle, not going for any Phoenixes. Okay. Now with the second Oracle, you can one-shot. 2 Oracles can one-shot SCVs. So a lot of damage can and will be done. ShoWTimE's goal here is going to be to deal critical economic damage and take a lead from there. And we're all coming together. Okay, he commits. Does commit in. He's going straight for the Marines. The Marines are getting caught outside of the bunker. That's going to be, oh my god, nice target firing. Yeah, nice target firing here on the Oracle. That's going to be most of the Marines going down. 2 Marines left over. SCVs are going to be focused down as well. And it's going to be 5 SCV kills, 5 SCVs, and 5 Marines as well. For 3 Adepts, not a bad trade. Not a bad trade. Ideally, ShoWTimE did want to kill every Marine, but he wasn't quite able to. The boys are pulled, Adepts got locked down. And Clem holds. Does sustain some damage, but he does hold on. Behind this, we have a second Rax on the way, getting his own eventually 3-1-1. Mine drop is on the way. And making his way into that mineral line. Oh. ShoWTimE does react, does pull the boys. Oh my god, does focus down for the first mine. 2 mines left over. And looks like we'll get at least 1 probe. And 1 probe goes down. Still 1 more mine shot left. Jumping into the main base. ShoWTimE does react. Ooh, and Clem, he will attempt to get away. It does boost out, jumping into the natural. ShoWTimE reacts. Clem just being as annoying as possible. Remember, there is no blink. And he will get 1 shot off. I spoke too soon. Oh no! Jeez. 3 probes, very nice damage towards the end. Again, at this level of play, you typically expect 1 probe to go down, but no, he gets 3 towards the end, so nice shot, nice damage there by Clem. Also denying mining time, keeping ShoWTimE's attention back at home as well. So nice damage out of our Terran, as Clem is building up and getting into stim. Meanwhile, a big shout to Pick. Oh, wait, the chat's God. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for subscribing for 13 months, over a year of support, baby. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for subscribing, and I hope you enjoyed the content. Hope you enjoyed the casting. Hope you enjoyed the StarCraft as we are getting into our first, as we're still getting into the first game of the series. Again, Clem, he got some nice damage. Behind this, going for his stim follow-up. Until then, he's stuck at home, so he has to wait for his upgrades. Stim, combat shields, +1, all the upgrades are still on the way. Until then, it's going to be on ShoWTimE to saturate his 3 bases and to build up into the mid-game as well. We have Blink that's finishing up, a Mass Gateway Explosion, no splash damage yet, but ShoWTimE, he does have a pretty active army here, and he has potential to slow down Clem. Stasis traps, Stalkers, the Oracles as well. The Oracles also provide high ground vision. Say poking, and they even kill the bunker. Okay. Bunker gets sniped. There's a recall back home as Clem is dropping. He's going for his own doom drop. The main army is here outside of the natural and can react in time to the third. Clem shouldn't get much here. He does get the shield battery at least. It's a battery, picks up 3 zealots. Ooh. So again, they do get one of the medevacs. And Stim will punish. Again, Stim is available. Does kite back, and Clem is going to be cleaned up. Ooh, losing 2 full medevacs. Clem did trade with the army, but ideally he wanted economic damage. So not the best trades here for Clem. Has to pull away. Bearing in mind that if Clem loses too much too quickly, then he's going to be contained back at home. He wants to be active. He wants to be active. He wants to be aggressive. He wants to gain that momentum. Jumping back in. A does force a cancel. Okay. Cancellation on the 4th. And Clem, instead of rotating over towards the natural, which ShoWTimE is anticipating, Clem, he reinforces the left-hand side. So Clem, he rotates over. ShoWTimE is out of position. I say out of position. ShoWTimE is in position to defend his 4th. And Clem, he gets a couple of pylons. It's going to be 3 pylons going down. ShoWTimE is supply. Oh my god. Heavy supply block for ShoWTimE. Yeah, heavy supply block. Nice retargeting. As Clem rotates. He should recognize that there should be a 4th base either on the right hand side or the center of the map. ShoWTimE is going for a 2nd robo. Bay's on the way for Colossus production. ShoWTimE is getting there. He's getting there. ShoWTimE, he attempts his zealot run by, or at least is in position to try to punish, but he gets spotted by the spotter depot. And the game slows down. The game slows down. Clem, he's likewise getting his own throat up and running. 4th CC is on the way. I would say this 4th base for ShoWTimE is late. It is delayed, and that is going to be a bit of a concern. Clem's goal at this point should be to max out. Should be to max out, build up into Vikings, into Ghosts, and maybe into Liberators. The armory on the way for 2-2. We have the 2nd starport for more Viking production. The game is going to slow down. We're slowing things down. Now, I did mention earlier that I do favor this map for whoever is the aggressing player. The reasoning for this is that, hey, ShoWTimE has got his 4th base, and Clem does not. ShoWTimE is gaining map control, and we mentioned earlier that the 4th base here on this map is very difficult to maintain, and it's going to be up to Clem to try to defend his position. Yeah, ShoWTimE is taking more bases. Again, ShoWTimE has map control. Knocking down rocks, throwing down stasis traps. Let's go to War Prism on the left hand side to drop into the natural. Likewise, Zelrama on the right hand side to hit the 3rd. ShoWTimE does distract. Yeah, he pokes in, he's going for the 4th expansion, slides a medevac. Not bad. While he distracts Zealots, they are actually the Clem is actually keeping up. Oof. Very nice mine connections. Keeps up, zones away. The War Prism didn't go into the natural. And so far, so good. Now again, oh Jesus, that's the stasis to go up. But once again, as we mentioned before, Clem's win condition, his goal here is not to counterattack. It's not to counterattack unless he wins the dominant fights. It's to stay at home. Stay at home and perfect his army. Here's him to the natural. ShoWTimE moves in. Once again, distracting Clem. Prism does make it past. Clem is diving on the Colossus. Oh, doesn't quite get it though. Yeah, the Colossus does walk away. And Clem thankfully has some reinforcements. Yeah, he defends. Clem defends back at home. He's up all the Zealots. Prism went down as well. So a nice defense out of Clem, and you can see here he's just getting more CCs, more orbitals. His army is still lacking. Does he have an academy? He does not. Ooh. No academy, no EMPs. A little bit surprising. At this point, I feel like he can't afford one. He's going straight for the fusion core. So the fusion core is indicative that he wants to go into liberators with liberator range. I'm just a little bit surprised that he never did get into the academy. I don't know if that's intentional. So Clem does catch out one of the Colossus. So far gets one, and there's not many Zealots here to buffer. The Stalkers are more exposed. And Vikings, they just go to town. They're going to get every single Colossus. Yeah, this was not a fight to take for ShoWTimE. Oof. ShoWTimE losing every Colossus. It's 4 Colossus going down. That was a bit of engagement here for Clem. Again, ShoWTimE, his Zealot count was just too low. These Zealots, they came in too late. We can see ShoWTimE switching out of Mass Colossus into Storm, into Disruptors. Likewise, Clem now getting a 5th. 5th base is on the way. He did retain his Viking count at least somewhat, 7 Vikings left over. The fusion core is now done, and we're not quite getting the upgrade yet. And Clem doesn't have the gas for it. Oh, never goes off. Does graze the army. Second over doesn't quite land, and 2 disruptors will go down. Better trades here for Clem as he does catch out ShoWTimE. He should not be here. Oof. Yeah, ShoWTimE should not be here. His also going down. Stalkers as well. Sentries get left behind, and everything swings in favor of Clem. He just tanks the storms. Oof. The final storm did do quite a lot of damage there, but there are more storms coming in. Okay. There's 2 more storms available. ShoWTimE should be able to hold on. Yeah, Zealots move in, and Colossus behind this. And ShoWTimE, he will clean up this army. Clem, he overextended. Took some really good fights, but alas, he gets caught out here. Clem falling in supply. And what just happened is that Clem just lost every Viking. Remember, he landed the Vikings, so every Viking just went down. His Viking count was reset. Now he's up against Colossus. And Clem is vulnerable. ShoWTimE is maxed out. It's maxed out. Yeah, gonna be collapsing in. Catching up the Marauders. And ShoWTimE looks like he should be able to break this position. Again, Clem, he never got into ghost production, never had any EMPs. GG gets called as ShoWTimE, he breaks the 5th base, and ShoWTimE takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Again, ShoWTimE was able to punish Clem for overextending. Once again, as I mentioned before, I don't think it was intentional that Clem never went for the academy, never built up into ghosts. Because of that, his army was that much less efficient. It left a little bit much to be desired there. And again, unfortunately, even though he took a really nice fight, it was a really good moment when he caught the disruptors, when he caught the main gateway army as well, but he counterattacked and he got caught out, right? He got caught out, lost all of his Vikings, and just bled out far too much. He could not sustain those losses. GG. GG, well played. ShoWTimE takes the lead in the series, and we'll see if ShoWTimE can take it from here. Bearing in mind, this is a best of 3. One more slip up, and ShoWTimE can make it through. Let's go. Let us go, as up next, going to be loading into Winter Madness. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the red Protoss player. We have the German Protoss representing Sentinels. It is ShoWTimE. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the French Terran player. We have the blue Terran representing Team Liquid. It is Clem. here we go. Here we go as we are getting into game number 2, and again, ShoWTimE, he does have a lead in the series. Clem, he did have a really rough mid game. His mid game was lacking for sure. He had some nice moments, he had some nice fights. Unfortunately, he overextended, he counterattacked and pushed into a reinforcing Protoss army. So again, was able to kind of lose any momentum that he would have had then and there. And we see Clem already mixing it up, going double gas. Double gas opener here by Clem, going for a faster factory, going for a later CC this time. I would say this is a bit of a safer start. Technically, if ShoWTimE did go for a proxy and did go for some earlier shenanigans, then Clem could shut it down. We can see that ShoWTimE is going for a standard opener, and we'll see what Clem does with this more tech-heavy start. Again, this leads into a faster factory. It also leads into a faster starport as well. So we'll see how committed Clem plans on being. We shall see. So now we are building up. To an extent, everyone is AP. True. I feel like last game is a good example of something that a lot of the Terran players do say, is that very often it is unsafe to counterattack even after winning a fight and pressing that advantage, just because of reinforcements from your opponents. And I mean, especially if you have a subpar army as well, right? We spoke about it, but Clem, he had the fusion core, but he didn't get into liberators yet. He had no academy, he had no ghosts. You know, there's that faster starport getting into his 1-1-1. First, it does delay the CC. Nice pick up here by ShoWTimE. Shouldn't get much more damage though, as the Reaper Hellion will clean this up. At least ShoWTimE scouts. So ShoWTimE is aware this is a later CC. It's a faster factory. As he attempts to delay. Delaying as much as he can. And meanwhile, as opposed to the last game, it is going to be a Twilight Council opener this time. Twilight Council into Blink. ShoWTimE going for a safer start. Getting a safety shield battery, throwing down 3 gateways. This can lead into a robo as well. Yep, speaking of, there's that robo. So very safe play here by ShoWTimE. And we'll see how aggressive Clem is going to be. Let's go to Cyclone, go to Medevac. Is moving out with the drop. So Clem is moving out. ShoWTimE should have the tools to defend as we're getting into the eventual warp ins. Okay, where's it getting up? And so here we go, the drop is coming. His gateways are up, the prism is on the way, which means that after ShoWTimE's defense, he can counterattack. Assuming he doesn't lose too much. As the drop slips into the natural. ShoWTimE, he does react, he does respond. The shield battery is done, so that does keep his stalkers alive. And so far, so good. ShoWTimE does deflect. Now, unfortunately, he has yet to kill the medevac itself, so this will stop any kind of counterattack. ShoWTimE spots the medevac. Oh no, the prism is going to get caught out. Yeah, massive pick off here. The prism does fall. And ShoWTimE is stuck at home. Okay, stuck at home, will take a third base instead. Again, that prism would have allowed ShoWTimE to counterattack and to apply pressure and to maybe even break the main and deny stim. But without it, he's going to be stuck at home. I say stuck at home, he's looking to be active on the map, but any high ground vision is now stripped away. The observers in production that will allow him to blink into the main potentially, but without that, he's stuck on the low ground. So Clem is dropping back in. Medevac is going to be targeted. Jesus. Calm down. Medevac barely gets away. True, ShoWTimE, he can potentially shade into the main, but not quite able to. Doesn't shade into the main, doesn't get high ground vision. From here, the game slows down when getting into the mid game. ShoWTimE's getting his third base. Clem likewise building up on 2. Waiting for Stim. Combat Children +1. Once that all kicks in, he can move out again. And we are getting there. As Clem moves out, it's going to be on ShoWTimE to slow this down. Does pick off 2 Marines. So 2 Marines get picked off. Medevac gets spotted. ShoWTimE, can he catch out the Medevac? The terrain does work against him here. We have the unload. And not quite able to catch it. That was close. Oh. Yeah, ShoWTimE doesn't quite get the Cyclone either. Trading a oh, doesn't quite get the rotor either. Oh my god. The pickup. And charge is done, and ShoWTimE, he should be able to collapse on this army. Okay, he's got the better concave, got the better arc. Collapsing in, the brutal mine connections on the zealots. But he should get better tanks. Oh, I spoke too soon. Yeah, I spoke too soon. He bleeds out every single stalker. The target firing here at a Clem. Ay, ay, ay. Clem gets cleaned up, but that was not the worst trade here. He did focus on so many stalkers. That was 9 stalkers going down. Clem is going to be forced back. That was a costly trade here for ShoWTimE. So Clem is taking his third base. ShoWTimE late to take his fourth, but there we go, is now on the way. And Clem does have momentum. Ideally, when it comes to PvT, you do want to retain. You want to retain and build up your stalker count over time. Here we're down to 4 stalkers, so very little to support the main army of ShoWTimE. ShoWTimE is mainly zealots. He's got his Colossus on the way. But ShoWTimE's army is lacking. Oh, and can he save his fourth? He's gonna try, but oh no! Jesus, that was almost a kill. That was almost a kill. The fourth base barely saved. Yeah, 1 more second, 1 more volley from Clem, and he would have focused it down. Clem, he still wants it. Still wants the Nexus. So anyone know the other 2 players in the group? Zan and Bunny. Zan and Bunny. It's gonna dust him in, going for the robo. Bold move, won't quite get it. At the same time, jumping in towards that fourth. ShoWTimE so far is keeping up. Nice defense. It's keeping up with the drops. Nice focusing down here with the Marauders. Colossus in position, and Clem cannot find a way in. He's been trying. And it looks like he will get the robo, just barely. Robo goes down, that will delay any Colossus production. But ShoWTimE does hold. ShoWTimE is holding on. At this point, I think it'd be worth getting a second robo as well, just to get into double Colossus production. But now just 1 is being built. There's only 2 Colossus. Yeah, and there it is. A second starport and the Ghost Academy. If you remember, we were criticizing Clem because last game he forgot it. Straight up, he just forgot the Academy. Did not get any ghosts. Goes to the round by. This time he will kill the expansion. It's getting out of hand. It's getting a bit out of hand here. Oof. Snaps the base, pulls away. Bleeds out a lot of Marauders in the retreat. True. His drop is cleaned up. And Clem very quickly trying to perfect his army here. We have 3 ghosts being made. Also, Liberator production has already begun as well. This does feel a little bit early, but he's getting there. It's building up into that higher tech army, claiming his 4th expansion. ShoWTimE not in position to delay. As he's double expanding. I mean, his own 4th base was sniped. So rough economy here for ShoWTimE. Let's say actually, Clem, he does have the superior economy. He's got 4 bases. He's actually mining. He's got his mules as well. And things are looking a little bit rough here for ShoWTimE. Another reason why ShoWTimE couldn't really apply any pressure or really push forward was because of his Robo. He's just now getting his 3rd Colossus. And still only has 1 Robo. Still only 1. Clem is almost there. Catching the prism. And I was going to be clashing again. There's just not much anti here to zone away those Vikings. Clem does turn around. We got the 1 Zealot. Let's go. 7 SCVs. Not bad. Seven SCV kills. Stargate is on the way. Interesting. ShoWTimE thinking about Skytoss. Oh, we're gonna be here for a while. We're gonna no. Ooh, that's a nice catch on the Stalkers. Yeah, EP goes off. Vikings, they just go to town the Colossus, and every Colossus should go down. Yeah, ShoWTimE overextends. ShoWTimE overextends. Ooh, please have the Disruptors, the Colossus, the everything. And Clem, he can just snowball out of control. GG gets called. Clem, he'll take the fight. He'll tap the series 1-1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. We get going to the ace match again. A much more assertive, much more aggressive Clem here, able to get a lot more momentum, able to pop off with the initial counterattacks with the drop play, sniping the 4th base, sniping the Robo. We tried to emphasize it a little bit, but killing that Robo was a big move. It meant that even though ShoWTimE had an army to work with, because he only had 2 Colossus, he didn't really have the confidence to be active on the map and to stop the 4th expansion. Very often, a lot of this game comes down, or a lot of PvTs come down to the Protoss player gaining map control and containing the Terran player on a lower base count. But as we emphasized, Clem had the better economy. He had the faster 4th base, he had the better economy, he had the larger army as a result. GG. GG, well played. So nice multi-pronged aggression there out of Clem, slowing ShoWTimE down. And now we're getting into the ace match. Getting into the ace match, going to be loading into Tourmaline. I was also a little bit concerned that maybe Clem would be taking up too quickly, but because of the lead that he had, it gave him the freedom to get into Ghosts and to get into those Liberators as well. But here we go, we're getting into the ace match, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Tourmaline, we have the German Protoss player, we have the red Protoss for Sentinels. It is ShoWTimE. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the blue Protoss, so the blue Terran player, sometimes Protoss, but not in this series. Representing Team Liquid, it is Clem. Here we go. So we're getting into our TvP, getting into the ace match, and welcome to Tourmaline. We're taking a break from these larger maps. Again, we've had a little more mid-game and mid to late game in both Game 1 and Game 2 between Clem and ShoWTimE, but now we're going to be loading into one of the smaller maps in the map pool. Aggression is favored here, and there's a higher chance that we will see an all-in on Tourmaline. Whether it's an all-in from the Terran player or something like a 4-gate setup out of ShoWTimE. Bearing in mind there's a lot that came into that last game, with ShoWTimE initially going 3-gate blink, but getting his War Prism sniped, so he couldn't apply pressure, he couldn't move out. A lot that did occur. But once again, 2 games in a row, double gas. Double gas opener out of Clem. Last game, this led into a 1-1-1 into Cyclone drop, which did contain ShoWTimE. Didn't do any major critical damage except for catching that War Prism, if you recall. That Prism went down early to the Cyclone in the middle of the map. We'll see if Clem goes for it here. Technically, Clem could turn this into a 1-base all-in with a 1-1-1, but that is a rarer sight and typically done by some of the more aggressive players out there, like a Gumiho or Ryung. Clem isn't really one to embrace that. Not typically. Not going to be here for a while. True. At ShoWTimE, he was thinking about SkyToss, but didn't get there. Thankfully. Oh. ShoWTimE does keep his probe hidden. Can always go in for a rescout. No shot we hide any tech here. I mean, if we were to go for a proxy Stargate, for example, I feel like we'd already see a pylon by now. Let's see, Reaper breaks in. Reaper is going to get called out. It's a nice movement here by ShoWTimE, keeping that Stalker hidden on the right-hand side. Okay. Baits Clem in. And it is going to be the Twilight Council. Twilight Council's on the way. The probe does go in for the rescout, so there's no proxy. It's on patrol. Gets eyes on the Reaper Hellion. ShoWTimE not quite able to focus. Oh, actually, almost. Doesn't quite get the Hellion. Bleeds out a Stalker. And doesn't quite delay the CC. Yeah, CC does finish up. We'll get some SCV kills, but no major damage yet. Unless there's more Reaper Hellion on the way. ShoWTimE does focus on at least one of the Hellions. Will not quite get the other. Oh, waste the recall as well. Doesn't make it back home. Yeah, some rough losses here for ShoWTimE. And Clem is rushing across the map. Again, ideally, typically when you go for a Reaper Hellion like this, the goal is for economic damage, just to bust into one of the bases. ShoWTimE, he's walling up the natural. The Reapers can bypass this. Doesn't quite find a way in. At the same time, wouldn't mind drop towards the main. Commands into the main. ShoWTimE does notice. Nice cancellation on the third. Oh. And the drop does get in. The retargeting. It is buying as much time as possible. Finally, the shot goes off, but the damage was done. The third was denied, and that is a massive pickup here. ShoWTime's third base is so delayed, and it doesn't really have anything to speak for it. He's only got 2 gateways. Now he throws down his gas geyser, his forge, now a delayed third expansion. The build here for ShoWTimE is now in flux. His build has been disrupted. And ShoWTimE has to get something done. And sure, he does catch out Heli and a Reaper, but Clem, this initial opener has paid for itself. It's already done damage. Now Clem's getting out of this, into tanks, into bio. Clem is building up. Now, we did mention previously here that because of how small the map is, we often do see all-ins. Clem has the option to maybe even throw down extra Raxes. Keep it on him. As Reapers are hit the natural, 2 probes, 3 probes going down. Oof. Some brutal damage. Again, Reapers do not scale well into a longer game, so to trade and to get 3 probes is a nice trade for Clem. ShoWTimE's going for a heavy gateway count. We should be seeing charge soon. I'm hoping we see it soon. Let's get the money for it. Jesus, how many gateways are we getting into? Building up into 8. So 8 gates on the way. Yeah, charge now begins. This is late. ShoWTimE, he had the money for it. He had the money for it for the past minute or so. So late charge, late upgrades. Dives into the main base though. Okay. Oh, doesn't quite deny a concussive shell. But A gets 2 Widow Mines, delays the 3rd CC. As there's a recall back home. Ooh, leading out 2 Stalkers. Oh, and again, we spoke earlier how charge was delayed. It was late. And that's going to come into play. So Clem breaks out across the map. Ideally, ShoWTimE wants to slow this down. This is very committed. And Clem is getting in. Yeah, he's getting in here. Again, this natural is so accessible. Clem within range of the gateway. Gateway goes down. Tanks are slowly pushing forward. Oh. Nice target by Clem. Very nice target. Jesus. 6 pro 7. 7 probes go down. 2 of the Stalkers. Clem, calm down, calm down. And ShoWTimE is hurting. And ShoWTimE failed to catch the tanks. Timing from Clem is terrifying. You can see the disparity here in the army supplies, and a big reason for this is, of course, the trades that Clem has been having, the delay on the 3rd base. Just the macro and the build of ShoWTimE has just been delayed quite heavily this game. And things are looking bleak for ShoWTimE. Now, there are ways to recover in this game. It would be heavily reliant on counterattacks, though, like a War Prism into the main base, a Zealot run by into the natural, Zealot run by into the 3rd. Some kind of counter damage is going to be necessary here to buy time and to, again, equalize the economy in some way. Without those moves, though, it's a difficult position for ShoWTimE. There's the academy on the way. Again, here in game 3, he does not forget. Let's get his academy, armory for +2. And Clem is just chilling until he maxes out. Well, we spoke about this previously in the series, but this is a very common kind of tactic here in TvP, is that even if you have a lead, just calm down, back off, like build up your Ghosts, build up your Vikings, get a Fusion Core. Clem is just securing himself. As Raven does fall. Nice start for ShoWTimE. As both armies are getting maxed. Again, I do favor Clem's setup here, as he's trying to secure the center expansion. Now again, because ideally ShoWTimE wants to fight out in the open, and this is a much more open location, Clem is taking it slow, getting his planetary, throwing down his turrets. And ideally, Clem wants to force ShoWTimE into him. Speaking of, ShoWTimE is going for it. Yeah, ShoWTimE does go for the dive. This area is more open. Ooh, Maestro goes off. Decent EMPs. Yeah, Colossus are too far behind. Zealots are being cleaned up. The Colossus, they're going down. And Clem is on it. Yeah, Clem is on it. He breaks the main army. GG gets called, and Clem will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the winners match. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Clem in the end, baiting ShoWTimE into a better fight for Clem. As you mentioned, ShoWTimE wanted to fight out in the open. Clem wanted to bait him into more SimCity, into a more controlled area. GG. GG, well played. I don't necessarily blame ShoWTimE for going for it just because ShoWTimE was behind. He was in a worse position. He didn't have the better economy. He didn't have the army momentum that you typically want as a Protoss player coming into the mid game. Things were looking dire there for ShoWTimE. GG. GG, well played. Just went for it. And in the end, it could not quite break Clem. Could not break him. And with that, Clem does advance on into the winners match. ShoWTimE is knocked down to the elimination match instead, and we'll see who will face off against these two players. Remember, this is a 4-player group. It is a GSL group. It's Clem, ShoWTimE alongside our next pairing, Zaun and Bunny, as they're going to be facing off in another TvP.